Welcome back to Crowd Control. We are going to be talking about Grim Coven. I promise you. It was in the thumbnail. It's probably in the description. But we're not going to talk about it first. First, we're going to be talking about Dabba Walla.
Yeah.
This is one of 4 campaigns we're going to be talking about. I've had the chance to play Dabba Walla several times now. We'll probably have some other, maybe a just played piece of content up on the channel as well if you want to know more about how the game plays. But this one is coming from Queen Games. It's a campaign. I had a chance to play this back early this year at the Adam retreat that we went to, and even a little bit before that. This game is based on Dabba Walla. This is based in
Mumbai.
Mumbai. Mumbai. There's this service. It's effectively the original Grubhub or the original DoorDash.
Yeah.
These guys will, and they have these little white hats. That's kind of like all of them wear that. That's
like a uniform.
That's their uniform. But the interesting thing is, they're delivering food necessarily from commercial establishments, but like just families.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing.
People just make food, and then people will hear about those people that make food, and then these people will on bikes, walking, have these giant things with all these like basically canisters that look like thermoses.
Yeah.
Which I think are called the Dabba. And they deliver those. In this game, it's a tile placement game, and it's cool because you're stacking tiles just like you would those canisters on your board and scoring. So there's 2 phases to the game. The first phase, you're basically moving around this sort of rondel, collecting these cards, and those cards are going to immediately allow you to play one and get a tile that's on the card and place it on your little cart. Then, after everyone's done that and you've gone through the entire deck, you're going to have varying levels in front of you. Like I might have gone really high. You may have spread yours out and stayed low. Then we're going to score each level. So the whole board flips over and you score each level and you can kind of make the scoring, you can affect the scoring. So like if I'm going to score this level and I have a ton of red, Ryan can play a card that tanks red and makes it worth less. I might do the opposite, try to make it worth more. And you go level by level. That's the game. And it's such a simple, it's one of those simple little games that's just really fun to play. Quite a bit of variability. There's several different carts that you can use of different shapes. But anyway, I really enjoyed
cool
it.
theme too. Really interesting theme.
Really enjoy this
like
game. You have my personal endorsement of this game.
Wow.
It's a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun.
I'm going to talk about Mythic Battles Icefet or Eastfet. This is, if you've never heard of Mythic Battles, you probably have seen it. On Kickstarter at some point. This was one of the original like big box miniatures games that blew people away when it came in like 4 or 5 boxes, whatever. It was a ton of miniatures, and they've done that multiple times. And I know, they've had some production issues, whatever, but generally they've delivered.
Yeah.
Their last project was Ragnarok, which was like the Norse gods, and this is now Egyptian gods. So if you've never played this, it is a gigantic miniatures game. And when I say gigantic, I mean your gods and monsters and these mythological heroes, and then just like your normal troops. And you're fighting each other with decks of cards and dice. You're building a deck with all the different troops that you've put into your battle. Of course, it's like any other game. There's points assigned to every unit. You're trying to hit a number by combining different faction gods together, looking for synergies in their powers. So this is introducing an entirely new pantheon, being Egyptian. And then, of course, like any good giant game, they have all-in pledges where you can just start from scratch and get everything. This pledge gets bigger and bigger.
$1 million.
It's every time. I think for Ragnarok, to get everything up to Ragnarok was like almost $600.
Oh, that's not as much as I thought.
Well, no, it's not that bad actually
for
the amount of content you're getting.
Sure.
But you don't need to. You don't need to go back to the beginning. You can just buy this set, build your team with the Egyptian gods, and battle people from any set, which I think is one of the things that keeps this game going for so long. Is there so much customability in the armies? Plus, choose your favorite pantheon. I would probably play Ragnarok, but
all the time.
Yeah, I like the Norse gods, but the Egyptian gods are really cool.
Well, the next one is a product in a game that's coming back to crowdfunding, and that is Agemonia. I can't even remember how long ago it was on crowdfunding. It was a bit ago. Now. Maybe a year and a half or 2 ago.
It's been out for about half a year.
That is true. Probably 2+ years ago when it was out on crowdfunding. It is coming back. I've had a chance to play it. It just really delivered this year?
I feel it was either late last year or early this year.
Early this year, I think.
It's hard to tell.
I can tell you right now, and I'll snap a picture and give it to Ryan so you can see. it is under this table as we speak because Alicia and I have been playing through it, and we're, I think, just leveled up to level 2. We did push pause on it because we had some other games to play. But this is a big campaign game. You know, think your Gloomhavens of the world. It plays differently than that, but this is a very...
way more narrative focused than a lot of those games.
Very narrative game. One of the cool things, and I can't remember if I've mentioned this on the channel, but one of the wildest things, right from the get-go, the app has these audiobooks for each character that you choose, and they're like 40-minute long audiobooks for each character. My guy was this lizard guy going through a midlife crisis. And that's legit what his story was. It was really interesting and original type stories. What this campaign is doing is not only bringing it back, from what we've heard, no confirmation here. Hopefully I'm not saying anything I shouldn't. Might expect some tougher monsters.
Nice.
I might expect some new heroes.
Sure, I would expect that.
You might expect some little extras for those of you who already have Agemonia that might want little things like, some nice new card dividers, things like that. I understand storage. Some of those things are going to be in the campaign, so make sure and check out Agemonia when it hits.
All right, and then the last one, last but not least, I know you've been waiting to hear about this, Grim Coven. This is the next game from Awaken Realms, and that's it. That's all I have to say. You've already hit the back button.
Honestly, it's probably all you have to say because we have about 1 billion other videos on the channel up at this point.
Also, for real though, if you're not familiar with Awaken Realms, they have developed such a sterling reputation and such a following amongst board gamers that pretty much any project they release is almost an instant back for a lot of people.
For a lot of people.
But I think this one in particular speaks to me more than some of their more recent games. Like Stalker was fun. I enjoyed Stalker.
I liked Stalker a lot.
This for me is the best game they've released in a while because it speaks to me from the aesthetic. It's very much a steampunky, Victorian dark fantasy a la Bloodborne and games like that, which is something I already do love. Getting to play characters and then, almost like a Soulsborne game, you're defeating monsters, taking their energy in the form of lament and using it to corrupt your character to the point where you get to just become this crazy, corrupted, giant miniature, which we actually have on the table because we just finished playing it. It's so cool.
This is the normal version, and that's the corrupted version.
It's so cool how thematic this game is, and just how much they've knocked it out of the park when it comes to these miniatures.
The miniatures are sick.
Always phenomenal.
The fact that it's a boss battle in and of itself, I don't know that anything that Awaken Realms has done would be classified as a strict boss battler.
I don't think so.
But this one is definitely the closest they come. It's straight up a boss battler. And the interesting thing is, again, we mentioned this on a lot of other videos, you get right to the boss battle.
Yeah.
This is not a do this stuff and then get to the boss. Round 1, the boss will do things.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's right there on the board. Now, that may differ from boss to boss, but in our experience, it was right there. And the game is tough as nails.
Yeah.
I honestly, this is going to be one of those games where you try a scenario, you lose, take another run at it, maybe take another run at it. Hopefully, maybe get some more friends at the table to help you. But it is a really, really cool boss battler coming from Awaken
For sure.
Realms.
I know you're all really excited to hear more about this, so definitely take a look at our preview as well, which is going to give a little bit more in-depth look. And then, of course, we did a round 1 as well, those were sponsored content. Here, I feel like a little more free to talk about how excited I am about the game. But
full transparency, they did pay us to do a couple videos, but not this one. And we're speaking from the heart as we do.
No, I really enjoyed it. But I think if you're a fan of Awaken Realms games and the level of production and the level of just design ethos they bring to their games, you're going to really enjoy this one.
Yeah, it's cool. It's not a dice chucker, dice placement. That's the last thing I'll say. Check out our other videos if you want to know more.
For sure.
And check out our next episode of Crowd Control. This is yet another big week. I think we've hit this phase in early summer and late spring where people are launching some big campaigns. This is a big one.
Yeah.
Grim Coven. Yeah. Agemonia coming back. Daba Walla. Although
Mythic Battles is going to do well.
Little light game. This is a game to definitely check out.
We'll have another video on the channel for a game called Sovereign, which is a cool card battler game that we just. There's just a lot happening this week.
Yeah, anyway, if you have any questions about any of those things, make them in the comments below. We'll get down there, answer whatever we can. Until next time, make sure everyone has fun at the table, and we will see you then.